If buying a home is one of your New Year's goals, please don't make these mistakes. All right, y'all. Y'all know I'm a realtor. I give y'all the mom life and the realtor life. But today we're going to be talking about real estate. So if you're new here, I am a realtor in the Phoenix, Arizona area, surrounding area, metro area, however you want to call it. And I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, a lot of young home buyers as well. And a lot of times I see a lot of mistakes that are being made before we ever even start the process. So it's important for me to always inform my clients on how to start the process of buying a home and, you know, helping them navigate this purchase, because it is one of the biggest purchases of your life. If you're buying a home, it's a huge commitment. It's a huge loan you're getting. So it's important to know how to avoid certain things. So we're going to be jumping right into it. Mistake number one. A lot of people start their search before they ever even talk to a lender or a realtor, which is a big no-no. If you've been following me, especially my real estate journey, then you know one of my top things is know your numbers. A lot of times people jump on Zillow, save homes that they like before they ever know their numbers. They see these prices and they're just like, I can afford that. Yeah, that's not bad. I'm gonna save that. No. That's fine. Get an idea of the kind of house you like. But let me tell you right there, ignore those numbers, especially because Zillow does show you the listing, shows you the list price, but then it often tells you what the monthly payment can be, the estimated monthly payment to be. And let me tell you right now, it's estimating it based on certain criteria. So if you don't know what you qualify for, then it's not going to help. Because of this, budget shock happens later. So you might find a home for a certain price, and then you realize it is not in your budget, or you don't pre-qualify for that. You don't want that to happen to you. Rates, monthly payment, and credit matter way more than the list price. I don't know how many times I've had to say this to my buyers, to like a lot of first-time buyers, because like I said, a lot of times people get stuck up on the list price. Oh, I want a home I'm gonna give you a prime example. Oh, I want a home for $250,000, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom with a garage. Now, when I bought in 2020, which is now going on 6 years ago, that was realistic. Fast forward now, that is unrealistic here in the state of Arizona, at least in the Phoenix area. You know what? I shouldn't say that it's unrealistic in the state of Arizona. It is unrealistic in certain areas in Phoenix, especially if you want to live in an area like Chandler or Mesa or Gilbert. I'm going to struggle to find you a single family home for $250,000. So instead, what I ask my clients, because that's the budget shock, you realize you can't get a home for that price in that area. And so what I tell my clients a lot is, what is the monthly payment that you want to pay? Tell me that. Okay, is that realistic based on the market rate right now? Is that realistic based on what you qualify for right now? And you know, when you qualify for certain amounts, you can play around with it, but think about what you want to pay monthly, because ultimately that is what is going to matter. That is how the interest rate affects your monthly payment. So list price doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, obviously, because you need to know what you're qualified for. But in the long run, it matters more if you know what you can afford monthly than thinking that you can't afford a $300,000 house or a $350,000 house. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Before we move on, why this is a huge problem is because buyers feel motivated and they feel rushed, and when you see a new listing, you get tempted to jump on it and rush to it. You can be motivated. You don't have to rush. Right now, we just aren't in that kind of market. At this very moment of January 12th, 2026, we're not in a market where it's super competitive for buyers. It's more competitive right now, from what I'm seeing, sellers. so you don't have to rush. And even if it was competitive, you still got to know your numbers first, because if you don't know your numbers and you don't have a pre-qualification in hand and you're going out to go look at houses and you want to make an offer, you still got to get pre-qualified. So if you were rushing, you still got to get that done. You cannot make a offer without a pre-qualification, at least here in Arizona. That's where I'm licensed. So things to do: get pre-approved first, or pre-qualified first is what we call it. That way you know your numbers and you know what the monthly payment is looking like, what the interest rate you can get locked in at, and the list price that you can afford. So a lot of people underestimate the total cost of buying a home. They only think about their down payment. And let me tell you, you have more than just a down payment. You have closing costs. You have, which surprises a lot of people, because you're like, what is closing cost? It surprised me. I wasn't even a realtor yet when I bought my house. And my mom said, oh, you got to account for 3% for closing costs. I was like, what? So you mean I have to have 6.5% of the purchase price to buy a house? I was like, we saved for our down payment, but we did not save for our closing costs. Luckily at the time, our sellers did pay our closing costs, even though it was a competitive market. You also have inspections, appraisals, and of course you're going to need to think about your moving in and moving out and buying new furniture. But really, during the process, down payment, closing cost, appraisals, and inspections. And those are the big four. And like I said, really the big three that surprise people are closing cost, inspection, and appraisal. Because of this, a lot of times your savings get wiped out, which there's a fix for it. We're going to talk about it. With that being said, if you are thinking about buying a home this year, budget beyond the down payment. Save for your down payment, but try to save a little extra for closing costs, for inspections, for appraisals. Sometimes you can pay appraisal at closing, so you can get it wrapped into your closing costs depending on the lender, so you don't have to pay the appraisal. Sometimes lenders give credits for appraisals, so it really does depend. You can save money there, but at least if you're not setting aside, if you already have your down payment saved, at least set aside an extra $1,000 for inspection and appraisal, and then try to figure out how you can get closing costs. You can also ask the seller for concessions to help you offset that. So just keep that in mind. But it depends on the market, because sometimes if it is a competitive market and the seller has more buyers than they need, then they may not do it. They may pick the buyer who already has it. But right now it is a slower market, so I have seen a lot of sellers concede. I've even talked to my sellers about offering concessions, so it can be done. But just something you can know, if you can save a little extra, so if you don't need all 3%, sometimes you need 6%. That's what FHA loans, you can get up to 6%, and sometimes your lender can use it to buy down your rate. All right, our last, but certainly not least, mistake is waiting for the perfect time to buy. You do not know how many times I've heard people say that, or I've had people say that. Oh, I'm just waiting for the right time to buy. What is the right time to buy? When interest rates go down? When prices go down? We don't know when that's going to happen, if that's happening. And to be honest with you, I haven't, in the last 6 years since I've bought my house, I haven't seen prices go down. I've seen rates fluctuate, of course, but I haven't seen prices go down. And rates, honestly, are staying steady between 5 and 6. A little over 6 sometimes. So exactly when is the perfect time to buy? You cannot time the market perfectly. People keep saying, oh, the housing market's going to crash, this and that. They've been saying that for a long time. Since COVID, at least. Like I said, since I bought my house, at least. So there is no perfect time to buy, but there is a perfect time to buy for you. What that means is, have you saved your down payment? Is your credit good? Have you outgrown your space? Are you ready to own your own space? If you can answer yes to all 3 of these, it's the perfect time to buy for you. That's just that. You can't time the market. You can't say, okay, well, they said rates are going to go down. They don't always go down, and they may not go down to what you want it to go down to. So I always say, If you have your down payment saved or means of getting a down payment, then you can say yes to that. You can say yes to my credit's good, I'm ready to rock and roll, I can afford X amount monthly, I've been paying rent, I can afford it. Yes to that. If you can say, oh, I've outgrown my space, it is time, I am fully ready to own my own home, I am ready to commit, yes to that, then it's the perfect time for you. You can definitely always refinance a rate if rates do go down, which does help, but you can't rewind time. And a lot of times I do hear people say, yeah, I should have bought then, yeah, I should have waited, yeah, I should have just bought then. They said rates were going to go down, and now this house sold last year for this price, and now it's this price. You can't change. So buy when you're ready. Buy when you're ready. Those are the top 3 biggest mistakes I see first time home buyers make. But instead of thinking about the mistakes, here's a quick overview and a few tips. Get pre-qualified first. Pre-approved, pre-qualified, whatever. Get pre-qualified first. Build your team early. Pick your lender, your realtor. They got a whole team. They might be a team. Pick them early. Be clear on your needs versus wants. If you're a first time home buyer, you are not going to buy your dream home first. You're just not. I'm just letting you know right now. And you might, but you're not. You're not going to buy your forever home. So know what you need versus what you want. And if you can come to a, equal medium, then you're good. And create a realistic timeline. Understand when, if you're renting right now, understand when your lease ends. Understand that it does take 30 days from contract acceptance to closing day at the minimum. Sometimes it goes a little bit over. Here in Arizona is pretty standard, but at the minimum, understand that it takes 30 days, but it might take longer, and understand that you need extra time to find a home too. So, you're set a realistic timeline. So, if buying a home is one of your 2026 goals and you are in the Phoenix, Arizona area, please reach out to me. You can comment below, I'm ready to buy, or you can email me or reach out to me on one of my either Instagram or TikTok. Everything's linked in the description box. And I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want more home buying tips, hit that subscribe button and give this video a big like for me, and I will see you guys next time.